So it's been about 3 days since I downloaded the iOS 15 developer beta on my personal everyday iPhone 12 Pro Max. And today I want to go ahead and let you guys know what the experience has been like. I'm going to answer a few questions as well, such as who this update is actually for, as well as if you're on the fence, if you should go ahead and update. But before we get into that, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, this is Ike's Tech Talk, where we cover the latest in tech news, reviews, and discussion. If that's something that you're interested in, do yourself a favor, hit that like and subscribe button down below. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So to start things off, I want to talk a little bit about some of the interesting things that I found. We're gonna go right into battery. Now, before you click off the video, I know we normally don't cover battery with betas just because it's not finalized software. Normally I find myself saying that because there's some type of decrease in the battery life of my device. But with iOS 15, for some reason, it's been the opposite. I've actually noticed that I've been getting better battery life than I'm used to on iOS 14. One of the tests that I run through all the phones here on my channel is my alarm to wake up for work goes off at 7 a.m. So from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm literally just using the phone, whether that's scrolling through Twitter, watching YouTube videos, whatever the case may be. I'm doing it for an hour straight, and I like to see how much of a percentage each phone loses when it comes to battery life. So on my iPhone 12 Pro Max here, before iOS 15, so on iOS 14, running that same exact hour, doing YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, all of that on my device, I would normally see about a 7 to 8% drop. So it'd go from about 100% to about 93 or 92%. But on iOS 15, I'm actually seeing it only drop by about 5 or 6%. So I'm actually ending that hour time frame with normally about 95 or 96%, which, like I said, you normally don't see that when rolling on to a beta. Next thing we want to go ahead and talk about is FaceTime and messages. So I'll let you guys know right up front and be transparent. I'm not the hugest user of iMessage and FaceTime. I personally use Google Duo, as most of my inner circle do use Android devices, but I was able to go ahead and test the FaceTime link feature in order to essentially send the link over to someone on, say, an Android device, so that way they can access it on a Windows desktop or, like I said, from an Android device. And it worked seamlessly. It worked the same way that if you've ever used Zoom or Microsoft Teams, it works in the same exact fashion. Now, again, like I stated in my WWDC recap, the user on the Android or Windows side cannot initiate any type of FaceTime call, but they can still join and access the call. So definitely cool to see Apple bring that in, and that's kind of what I was able to notice as far as the FaceTime and the messages side. Now, as far as notifications, this one is huge because notifications are a lot better in iOS 15. Now, I will be the first person to say notifications on Android is still miles ahead, mostly because you have the kind of notification icons in the top left. I love that on Android. It tells you exactly what notifications you have and what applications are sending notifications without you having to go to Notification Center or whatever the case may be. But they are miles better on iOS. I'm noticing that they're actually grouped better. So say, for example, Microsoft Teams, I'm noticing that my notifications are grouped by the different chat rooms on Teams. So if I have a chat room, let's say about Apple, I'll see all of the Apple chat room notifications grouped. Samsung, those will be grouped, OnePlus, and so forth. So that's really, really good to see. Also, the UI for notifications is updated. So now they're smaller, and also whenever you action a notification, like you press and hold, you'll actually notice that the preview, while being smaller, has all of the actions for that notification right there front and center. You don't have to scroll anymore. That killed me in iOS 14, the fact that you'd open up a preview for a notification and have to scroll down to get to the option. So that's no longer a thing. They made the preview a bit smaller so it all fits on the screen. And also the focus feature, I did go ahead and give that a shot. Like I said, I'm not a huge user of Do Not Disturb. I'm fine with getting notifications as I work remote from home, so it's not that big of a deal. But I did like the fact that I could actually allow only certain apps to send me notifications. That was really, really cool. So kind of what I set up was during work time, I couldn't receive notifications from Twitter. Worked like a charm, was super seamless, even though this is the first beta for iOS 15. Next, I want to go ahead and talk about performance. So performance is normally something we don't get into on betas, again, because it's not finalized software. But this, I will definitely say, as I've been running the public beta on my Pixel 4 XL here for Android 12, this is so much more stable and fluid than the Android 12 beta. Now, I'm not comparing them, and I do understand that Google definitely has a much more kind of design approach as far as what they've done with Android 12, meaning like it's just more of a major kind of update. So I do know that that does play into it quite a bit, but this beta literally feels like I'm running iOS 14 with just a few extra enhancements and tweaks and all new wallpaper, obviously. Now that's gonna be, you know, for good and for bad, but as far as performance and fluidity, man, it feels the exact same. So definitely happy to go ahead and report that. Performance has been great. I did notice a little bit of overheating here and there where where my Pro Max would just get a little warm. It never got too hot to where I couldn't hold it, but like I said, I attribute that mainly to the beta. Besides that, as far as app crashes, I've only had Twitter crash on me twice, which I'm gonna count that as a W, just because for me to have ran this for 3 days and only see 1 to 2 app crashes, I think that that's definitely perfectly fine. I'm not deducting anything from Apple or from iOS 15 for that. So really, really good as far as the performance side. Now, I want to go ahead and cover who this update is for. So if you've been following Twitter and following Reddit as far as iOS 15, you'll notice a trend. There's really 2 camps, right? So first camp is they really see the benefits of the features, they're loving the update, it's great, whatever the case may be. While the other side of the fence is solely in the camp of being disappointed, and they feel as though Apple didn't do enough, things like that. So how much you're going to enjoy this update or how major you feel it is, in my opinion, all stems from how deeply integrated you are in the Apple ecosystem. Now, what I mean when I say that, all of the major app updates that Apple bought to say like FaceTime, Message, Wallet, HomeKit, all of those features that they talked about were to bolster your experience using those first-party Apple services and Apple applications. If you're a more agnostic user, meaning you can pick up and use an Android device, or say you use a Mac with an Android device, or you use an Android device with an iPad, those extra services and features you don't get to take advantage of. So it's gonna seem significantly less of an update for you. Now, there is also the argument that Apple could have just put a lot of these applications, their first party ones, in the App Store like Google does, and then just provided you updates throughout the year so that way they could focus more on core functionality. I'm personally in that ballpark. Just add them to the App Store. That way we can focus on core functionality being updated whenever we get a major yearly iOS release. But obviously Apple didn't do it that way. But I do also feel that if you are heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, this is a fantastic update for you. You're not going to be missing anything. Again, Apple didn't make iOS 15 and the rest of the platform upgrades for us users who use an Android device and Apple products, or for users that kind of mix and combine ecosystems and platforms. This is solely for people whose only device is an iOS device, only tablet is an iPad, only computer is a Mac, only watch is an Apple Watch, and only earbuds are AirPods. This is an update for them. Now for the golden question, should you install? So normally I immediately say no. You should never put developer beta software on your personal everyday device, just because if there's any issues, you have to restore. But I'm gonna say with my experience thus far, again, after 3 days of usage, this is stable enough to run as your primary device. Now there's always gonna be issues with app compatibility as developers get their applications ready, so definitely be mindful of that. check the iOS beta subreddit. I'll link that down in the description. And they have a compatibility chart. That way you can see exactly which applications will work on iOS 15 so far, and you can kind of track it and it'll keep you up to date. I will say this though, before you upgrade to iOS 15, make sure you make a backup on iOS 14. The reason I say that is because if you get to iOS 15 without making a backup, you back up on iOS 15 and then downgrade, you cannot use that iOS 15 backup on iOS 14. It's a one-way street. So you can use an iOS 14 beta to restore on iOS 15, but you cannot do it the reverse way. So if you are going to try this out, if you're going to install this on your device, just make a backup while you're on iOS 14. That way, if you run into any issues on iOS 15, you can just downgrade and then restore using that backup. So like I said, guys, it's definitely a solid upgrade. Good to go here on my end thus far. We're gonna go ahead and close out the video here, but before we do, I do wanna ask you guys below in the comment section, let's have a discussion. Are you running iOS 15 Beta 1? And if you are, what's your experience been like? Again, on my end, been nothing but smooth sailing, but can't wait to hash it up and talk to you guys down in the comment section below. As always, this is Ike's Tech Talk. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.